Hey ladies, welcome back to Fruitfully Feminine. I'm Gabrielle and today I'm going to be doing a cover of Cake Decorating Lesson, How to Color Fondant, How to Cook That, and Reardon. Yes, that is the title. All of her titles are like that. This is the third video on her channel ever, and basically she explains a ton of good tips and really useful things about how to color fondant and why you should do it a certain way and what tools you should use. So I guess I'll go over tools to use right now. Obviously, you're gonna need some fondant to dye. I open a thing of fondant and usually just put the rest in Ziploc bags to keep them sealed because they are humongous, and whenever I make cakes, I don't want to just waste all of this fondant. And it does get pretty. I mean, I could still bend it, but I'm gonna have to mold it for a while to get it back into a good texture.
A fondant rolling pin is a really great tool.
She suggests using this. This is a fondant rolling pin. I've had this since I started making cakes and working with fondant because I think, yeah, it is really important. It's totally different than a normal rolling pin. You wouldn't think so, but try using a normal rolling pin on fondant and then just go spend the like $5 or $10 to get this. I promise it's worth it. Now this is just a video for dyeing fondant, so you don't actually, you're not making anything, so I guess don't get the rolling pin. She's just naming things you need, and I'm just mimicking that. You need dye, and she does mention that you cannot use normal food coloring because of it's liquid, so you have to work it in a different way, and by the time you get it all worked in, which it won't even look good anyway, but by the time you get it worked in, it will not be, the fondant won't be malleable enough. Yeah, it just won't be, it's not what you want to use for fondant. So get a gel color pack. I have like 10 or 12 of these. They're fairly expensive, but not, like each one's like $3 if you get the really expensive packs. And when I say really expensive, I mean like 20 or 30 bucks, but it's worth it. I mean, this has lasted me 3 years and I've used it a ton. You need parchment paper. Parchment paper is the best. Parchment paper is the best when working with fondant because you can lay it out and it doesn't stick. You can use icing sugar. That's what she calls it. It's powdered sugar in America. You can use powdered sugar. I'm not a huge fan of that. And I just ran out because I used some for my breakfast. So you can use powdered sugar, but I mean, definitely don't use flour, but it does dry it out. So you can only use so much before you have to either be done working with the fondant or you're just gonna ruin it. So be sparing with your powdered sugar. The next thing is a knife, and you actually don't use a knife to cut fondant, you use a pizza cutter.
A pizza cutter.
So that is another tool. She says use this because it will glide and a knife drags. But a knife or a toothpick, I don't know why she uses a knife. I've always used a toothpick, but she uses a knife, so we're gonna do that today to apply the dye to the fondant. You don't want to use your fingers. It's already gonna get on you anyway. But yeah, definitely use a toothpick or a knife. I don't know why she doesn't use a toothpick. She probably has a reason. Maybe you don't want the wood bits, just in case, I guess. I've never gotten like pieces of toothpick in my fondant, and if I did, I would feel it while I was, you know, kneading it in. So anyway, those are the tools. If you mimic just what she uses today, so we're not gonna use this, and we're not gonna use a ton of fondant. It's really, I mean, like $5 worth of fondant, it's like $15 or less for parchment paper, fondant, dye, and like if you need a knife, you know, so this is a pretty cheap video. It's cheap in general to buy fondant and dye in bulk and then just make cakes forever with it. But this is just a how to dye it. We're not actually making anything. So let's jump into it.
Baking paper and just putting that down on the bench.
So first step is lay your parchment paper down. Did it. The rings are coming off because those will get dye on them, and that will be sad to the me.
When you get it out, it might be a bit hard. You just need to give it a bit of a knead to get it soft and workable and pliable.
Now, if you're like me and you stored fondant, you're gonna have to get it back to a malleable texture. That might require some legwork. While I'm working this, I figured I might just say that she does have other things in the video I didn't mention, like skewers and straws, the icing sugar, like I said, and water. But because we're not actually making anything today, you don't need those things. I think she probably filmed this before the Pokemon, the yellow Pichu video, that was the first one I did by her, so that was 3 years ago, so I've already done that video, so I'm not gonna redo it, because I'm just not about that. She says it should be about Play-Doh, so mine, I'm just taking it down here because I can't, I'm not strong or something. Another quick note, if you're working with fondant, which she says water helps it stick to other things, so like if you want to stick a fondant piece to your cake, don't let your hands be a drop wet because it will react with the sugar and it will stick to everything, and that's when you're going to have to use icing sugar to kind of like re-dry it out. And if you wait for it to dry, it's going to dry hard. Once sugar reacts with the water, you're done. So you cannot have a drop of water on your hands if your hands are sweaty, which probably just don't work with it anyway. But yeah, before you work with it, wash your hands and make sure they are completely dry, no moisture in your hands. Not even natural oils. I'm just kidding. But you have to have dry hands when you work with fondant. She does mention that if you're gonna use a like bright red or black fondant, just buy that fondant because you have to add so much dye. You'll work for probably an hour kneading it and it's still gonna be really light. So don't go from white to black. When you're dyeing something yellow or orange, that's fine. But if you want a vibrant red, a vibrant blue, a green, a black, anything like that, you can almost always find in stores right next to the white because you just cannot dye white fondant black.
Dip it into the gel colour of the colour of your choice.
So we're gonna dye it now, kind of have it in a pancakey, a flat shape. That's what she does. She also says she puts her fondant in the freezer.
Put it in the freezer and you'll be fine.
Real quick, I will just say I've always stored mine in just like a pantry. I just wrap it in a Ziploc bag and put it in my closet, in my storage closet, or under my bed, wherever I have my stuff where I'm living. And I've never had a problem. I wouldn't put it in the freezer because you saw how hard it was just at room temperature to make it. I mean, I guess you could warm it up, but I don't know what that would do. Again, I don't know enough.
And then just stab it in to the fondant.
Not too much. You can always go back in, but you cannot subtract. So you want to stab it into it. That's what she does. That's always how I've done my fondant. That's how I've been advised. So stab it right in there at different places and then wipe it off. You want to get all the dye from the knife onto the fondant. 1, to make your knife easier to clean, and 2, to not waste any dye. Laying the parchment paper down also helps with cleanup later. You don't have any surface to clean. Fondant's easy to clean up anyway. You just take a small ball of fondant and pick up the pieces with the fondant, just like Play-Doh.
And what you want to do, you don't want this on your fingers, you want it all on the sugar paste, so fold it in half so that it's in the middle.
I was not filming when I added more dye, but I did add more dye. Dang it. I added more dye because it wasn't vibrant enough, just like hers was. Did the same thing, wiped off the knife. You just keep kneading and kneading until you get the right color that you want.
Okay, once you've done one colour, if you have another colour to mix, make sure you wash your hands and dry them really well.
She says if you're gonna mix another one, so like let's say you're making the Pichu with this and you want the pink mouth, you're gonna mix the pink dye. Make sure you wash your hands first so you don't get any residual yellow on it, and dry them really well. Like I was saying, that sugar will react with the water and ruin everything. So if you don't want to ruin everything, just keep mixing. It's gonna just feel like your tendons in your wrists are breaking at some point. You can always take a break, but not for too long. If you leave fondant for like 30 minutes, it's gonna be hard. As you can see, it's mostly yellow, but it's got these streaks. That really is, you just have to stretch, pull, squash, knead, and it will eventually stop. It does feel like forever, I know, because I do this a lot, and it is exhausting. Since that's it, I'll probably just stop here. I mean, I would keep going maybe a little bit. It's pretty good. I would keep going a little bit if I was actually making something, but it just kind of feels like I'm wasting my time because I'm not gonna make a Pichu. I have made a Pichu. I'm not gonna use this for anything. I said I was gonna stop, but the perfectionist in me is like, if I leave this And I want to go dye something in a few months, and I need this yellow. I can't use it if it's streaky. So that took me about 10 minutes. It could take 15 if you're using a lot of a bigger chunk, or if you're dyeing multiple colors, it's going to take you longer. But it's about a 10-minute process of kneading the dough before adding the dye, dyeing it, and then just kneading it all out. 10 minutes is not bad, so that was good. Ability to follow, 5 out of 5. She's a great instructor, queen of baking, like I said, and Reardon is awesome. Outcome, 5 out of 5. Look at this little Pichu skin. I mean, yeah, you can't really, unless you did something wrong, you can't go wrong. So overall, that's a 10 out of 10. That's an 100%, which is an A+. So good job. Let's try it. Should I have tried it before I rated it? Because usually we eat the food that we make on this channel. This is technically food. I don't like eating fondant plain. I don't mind eating fondant on a cake. Usually a lot of people I know pick it off and then eat the cake. I'll eat it with the cake, but come on. Just eating straight fondant, man. It's kind of like gum. I have friends that love fondant. They could eat chunks of it. It was not as bad as biting into my little Pichu or my Snorlax guy like in the last videos I did by her, because that was bad. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great day or week or month or whenever I see you next. Bye.